for coming to this seminar. Let me try to introduce myself. I'm one of the designers and the founders of Evision. We have been in e-commerce for 15 years now, and one of the entrepreneurs in Denmark. We originally came from the ERP world, and this has really changed the way we are thinking in e-commerce. Because we thought that e-commerce was an... I'll just switch through those. That's not worth to talk about now. What we learned over the years was that integrated e-commerce do also mean a new a new sort of customers. They think different than the customer that we usually work with when we are working with e-commerce. Primary, because it's bigger company, and instead of thinking of sexy stuff on the front end, they are more thinking of buying a web shop with a lot of productivity tools, so they can gain their internal efficiency. What we learned was that while you normally web in the web world is building e-commerce solutions, most people are thinking about sale, and sale is of course also the most important thing. But in an integrated solution, at least in the B2B world, it's absolutely necessary also to look at the supply chain behind the system. It's absolute a thing that I believe is the most important, because this is where all the problem occurs, as this is the only chance for the company to really make a good bottom line if he expand his e-commerce solution with the functionality in his ERP system. What we learned was 5 demands for how to run a system like this, and we also learned that the customer want to buy a thing that is not possible to buy, because what they really want is to have a system with all those features. But you cannot buy such a system. So if you just took the look at the players and looked at one of the system types that are tightest integrated, the Dynamics X, I assume you know what Dynamics X is. It's the leading ERP system of Microsoft. They had tried to build an approach with SharePoint, but it will not work because all the engagement stuff is missing. So of course they can build a simple B2B solution, but you also have to engage professional B2B buyers. And then we have other leading products in the market, and I claim they will not work too, because they have no close ERP integration. So the one system is tight integrated in the ERP, and the other one is tight integrated to the front end, but there's no engagement system in none of them, and the hybrid stuff has no ERP integration. They do not have a close integration, at least.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Where would you position NetSuite in this area? Because NetSuite obviously comes from ERP.
I do not know that product, but we can try to investigate. I think the ideal solution was to breed SAP and Sitecore, for instance, merge all the source code and build a system that could do everything. But what you will get is a monster that nobody is able to deliver, or it will be extremely expensive. when we thought about all this 4 years ago in the middle of the zeros, we had to reconsider how to build, and we really want to take the best for the two worlds in order to build what we thought was a fantastic product. But before looking at systems, we must try to look at some assumptions. And our approach is that the ERP is the main database for all data in an B2B system. Because the ERP is the core point, the cross point for all channels going in the company. Think about point of sale, for instance. A large organization with point of sale, many sales channel data is always connected to the ERP system. And if you had to share things, you must of course share it from the common source. But not least, the ERP system is the only system which really know when data change, because it's where it happened. It happens. Before we continue, I'll try to introduce you a bit in the different way you are able to make integration. This is the most simple way. We call it the pull. And normally the initiative to the action is done in the e-commerce solution. He's requesting a web service in ERP which then returns some data to the e-commerce system. It will work, but it's extreme slow. And it will give a huge load on this machine. And normally ERP machines are not scaled for that. And the result is awful response time out here. Really, really bad performing systems. And what if data change here? The only thing the front can do, if you want to be online, is to continuously ask and ask and ask and ask and ask and ask until he finds a change. And that will take the capacity out of the information server. So now you have two dead systems. You can improve a bit because you can take all the data out and make some comparison stuff. And this is a logic that many companies try to implement. And it works. The point is, you cannot build an online system by doing this. Because as soon as you have taken a snapshot out from the ERP system and store it and start to compare things, data has already had changed a second later over here. So you will always work with old data. So it's not an online system. So what you must do, there's a question later, guess what we have done. So the point is, what you must do is you must put the intelligence of the system in the end where the change actually happens in the ERP system. And then you just inform an active Windows service that this happened and ask the Windows service to push the data immediately to the commerce solution. In that way, data will always be online updated. So this is a way to do it. There's an 100% alternative, and not many companies is doing that. I know 2 in the world. This is an Evision solution, basically described. What we have here is the ERP system. We have a level here, is actually databases that are part of the ERP systems. Over here, we have a lot of logic this is all the base functionalities for e-commerce solution. So all what you see around here is a complete end-to-end e-commerce solution, 100% integrated. I will not use many words more about this. It was actually the engine that transports the data from A to B. It's also the engine that does the pre-calculation of data that has to be ready for the commerce, so the commerce don't have to do a lot of calculation, at least not unnecessary calculations. You have a problem with the user interface when you are building e-commerce together with companies, and the main issue is that you can separate human beings in left-brainers and right-brainers. I also something says that the creative people, the Apple people, hate ERP stuff and vice versa. So you had two different user interfaces in order to enrich the data for the e-commerce. Remember, in an integrated solution, there are no administration module in the front end for that purpose. All data are maintained in the back end. And therefore, we need to have a product like this. We call it a product organizer. You will get a closer look on it later. And then you do, of course, also have an ERP user interface for that purpose. So the conclusion is everything is done from the ERP backend. Just an example of the e-commerce part in an Evision. We have written that piece of software. I will not go in detail with it, and it will probably bore most of you about it. But the point is, this is the categories used for this marked item. This is a closer view of the product organizer. I'll show you that later in real life. Just to give an introduction, the purpose of this product is to build more functionality in the ERP system. And what we can do is we can build up a category structure. We have a possibility for working with the part numbers in the ERP system. We can do enrichment, long text, teaser text. We can have item text and teaser text, and so in different language. All data are, of course, completely synchronized with the language code on the ERP in the CMS system. You can attach related items, a lot of extra files, documents, PDFs, and other stuff to the program, to the item. So this is basically the core of a product information system, because we believe that behind every e-commerce system should be a proper PIM system, product information system, or PDM, as Hybris is calling it. So this is what it is about. We believe, I'm sorry. Now I'll give you a short presentation of some of our PIMS functionality. But before that, just a very tough look of some of the features. There are many hundreds in the solution, more than one company ever has to use. But because it's a standard solution, it could be configured for different purpose for a different kind of business. But I think we have what's necessary to run a professional B2B, but also a B2C solution. One thing we have thought a lot about is how to structure the data, because data is core in an integrated B2B solution. So we just combined a mechanism. We invented a mechanism that can combine data from all tables theoretically in the ERP system. And what we create is a virtual item, and the virtual item is the item that are sent to the front end. This item consists of data from different parts of the system, and on top of that we had added something we called a dynamic data sheet. I'll not go deep in it today, but the purpose of it is that you can have different kind of data structures for different kind of products in your store. For instance, if you have many technical items, you had to have a lot of fields containing stuff. If you have very simple items, you had few fields. But what if you are selling both complex and simple stuff? Many companies doing that. Therefore, you need to build web pages that fit to the actual products. And this is a mechanism that could be done by using this item model. But we also had, of course, to control how to group the items. We call it the catalog model. In the catalog model, it's built very simple and it's easy to understand. We actually use the way and explore thing. We have a root level. In the root, you can have more categories. It could be master categories, and then subcategories, and another level of categories. Theoretically, you can have an unlimited amount of categories here. What you are then doing? What do you then do with the items? Yes, you just put a reference in the category notes for the product, and by doing this, we can have we can make a multi-dimensional product catalog, and this gives us a lot of opportunities for creating a very user-friendly product structure. A B2B business also has, we are not talking only about products and structures, but also about customers. Normally, a customer is created as a debtor. Debtor is the entity for the company that we have to invoice, and so this is what we call it in the P world. But as a difference to many B2C system, a debtor could have many users as part of its data. And each user are then connected to user groups, which again are connected to different category nodes. By using this mechanism, we can build a log-in controlled user catalog and make this product catalog very dynamic. The users are also attached to roles in order to give different kind of users different level of rights. For instance, user A are allowed to purchase. He's only allowed to see recommended list prices. So this is what we mean with the rights. We put the rights on the data entities at a deep. Perhaps you remember the drawing where I had the ERP system over here, the connector stuff in the middle, and to the left you saw the e-commerce solution with the Sitecore as front end. This part of the system contains all the logic for running professional e-commerce. And we do have a very, very long list of features for this purpose. And have built an interface for different CMS systems. We do also include an open mechanism for installing different search engines in the commerce solution. As a standard, it will be delivered with an interface to the Lucene mechanism. Our next release will include interface for document databases. But we'll still have a combination with the SQL because of the way the communication works. Today we deliver a solution with two sets of templates built in Razor or XSLT. Some companies combine them, and of course we could also include user controls over here. For partners, I think we have complete training software. We are still working on it, so it's to some extent we will deliver that very, very soon.
Quick question.
Yeah?
You mentioned hundreds of features. You mentioned B2B and B2C.
Yeah.
What would be an area where you should not use your product?
It's difficult to say. According to my, I think you can use the solution for every kind of, but we have some functionality, for instance, for B2B that are really enhanced. So we can, a B2C system is only a subset of the features in a B2B solution. So of course you can bring up a B2C solution because all the complex pricing and the delivery stuff is a standard functionality that of course also could be used in a B2B situation, but it's a must in a B2. No, it could be used in a B2C, but of course a must in a B2B environment. I probably had planned to show you something with OBEG, but we have had serious problem with that, so we decided to show you something else that included our new framework. But we are working together with Sitecore to bring OBEG up front, and it'll be ready, I think, just after the summer. But we also have a release that must be done from the side of Sitecore. So even if it's complete, nobody's able to deliver. But we will follow the OBEG strategy. And we have already done so much pre-engineering that we know that it will work. Yeah, hopefully I do not have too many challenges with this technical stuff. What I have here, and this is most important thing to show you, if I can put it on the other screen, I think there it is. This is a virtual machine. It's actually a complete server running a dynamic AX system. If I could find my bars and try to bring it up, there might probably be some errors here. I know it. Just have patience. This is normal for an AX startup sequence. In the meantime, I'll start this device. This is also normal startup procedures.
No more bands.
Yeah, because it has been sleeping now. Because I had to remove the machine. I had to move it. It's only a question about a few seconds. And if God and Bill Gates give me the opportunity, I'll find a small service here. I think it's a technical training course, so it's got to show you some technical stuff. It was... And now, what's happened now is that the main engine of the AX starts. It's something we call a three-tier solution, so it's the server part of it. And behind this we have an Active Directory and a lot of Microsoft server mechanism that must be run before we can start the AX. What's happened now? I think we lost our connection. Okay. But now we have the AX is started, and now I just connect to a client. In the real world, you will find that there could be many, many hundreds. I think the biggest installation has about 10,000 clients running on it. Come on, baby. What you can probably see here is a good demo, even if it's not on purpose, to show that the AX is taking a lot of resources out of the machine. And actually, this is a small machine. It should have been a huge server, but it's a bit difficult to bring that in the plane. But let's try to let me try to explain you a bit about the product organizer. The product organizer is the fat client that shares data with the AX system. So this is the e-commerce product built by Evision for Microsoft Dynamics AX. There's a similar product for Evision. We have all the settings here, and then we have something we had to do rarely, but sometimes. And here we have the e-inventory. The e-inventory is just a subpart of the virtual item, and you can do all your product management from this program if you are a shark in AX. Not many program manager like AX. Unless you are working in the logistic part. Therefore, you'll probably see people use the product organizer as an alternative user interface. Normally, you will find in a organization using AX that they have more companies. And then you just select the company for which you had to enrich data, you select the customer group you want to prepare, and also if you have more shops included in the solution, you must bring that stuff up here. Let me try to open this. Then you can see the structure expands, and here you have the information of the product and the texts in the category that I've just selected here. If I want to include this product, we do not have a full view here. I don't think I can bring it up. If you want to have this television in the category for digital cameras, I'll just take the product and drop it in this category, and now it's online. There's a lot of check marks here that gives you the possibility to submit or control entire branches of the structure. Let's go back to AX and look at the categories. This is the way the category are described in X, and you'll probably do share my meaning that this is more visible and it's much more easier to work with. In order to make the web shop to work, we have the ability to put different control mechanism in our category branches, so we can load different kind of templates. Let's say we have a product, we can use one set of templates, and you have a less complex product, you just select another, you just assign another template to that product branch in the category node structure.
Keep an eye on time.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. If I just want to have this, I adjust my bars. Go down here, select this one. Oh, sorry. As you can see, the picture I just showed you now, there's really a problem with the positioning in this very slim projector we have now, but this is kind of the front, but this is not important to look at. The important thing is that the categories that were enables are up here. So those set of data are fed directly from the ERP system. Now I'll try to log in. And you'll probably see some reaction. When I log in, things will adjust to my company profile. Pricing, my product sortiment, and a lot of stuff are now my private information. Over here I have some important stuff, because this is a view of all my orders. This is the e-orders that is actually active. This is the history of my orders from the ERP system. Also orders that came in by different channels, for instance phone orders and other things, because we are collecting all orders in the ERP system and they are just sent them to the front end. We can of course open them and see if they work as we expect. And this is an OK order, it's an international order. So we have, because we are from a Danish company, let me try to switch to English. Should probably change a bit, and you will see that all text areas are substituted with something else. I can add this to my basket and reuse data from an existing orders and just go to the basket. It should be there in a second, I believe. Oh, it's nothing. It's working so slow. Try another one. I probably not had the right click, and this is an order. I can save it to an order draft and actually have an unlimited amount of baskets saved in my system, and this could also be combined with data from alternative channels. There's not much more to show about this, because all stuff in our system is behind the is underlaying and hidden for the user. So I'm sorry, what happened here? So there's no much to look at. Let's try just to make a click of this, just to give you an idea what's behind it. Here you will see a system where we can have an unlimited amount of prices, recommended list price, your price, special offer, if you buy 10, if you buy hundreds, and so on. So you can just put this in and program this to the personal profile. We have an online access to the inventory in the ERP system. In this demo case, we have just shown the amount on stock, and green means that you are able to sell. You are allowed to sell up until 100. We have a system that if you go below a certain limit, you have another color here. I think this is what I want to explain you about the physical things, and therefore I'll switch back to the PowerPoint. To give you a few takeaways, I started to explain you that you are now dealing with bigger customer that do mean more challenges, and if you are good in selling consultancy, will probably give you more money. You will also learn that the sales process will be probably longer because it has to involve more people in the company. Recently we had a meeting with a company that included people from the entire supply chain that also want to set their fingerprint on the decision. So this is thing that you should really think about when you are going into B2B e-commerce. Good money, good stable product, big projects. One point I will stress: you will be involved in ERP problems or challenges, and therefore it's a really good idea to team up with the partner in the company that has the responsibility for the ERP system. Primarily because he owns the data and know if the customer has ask him to build some modification that we must take care of in the front end. We want to give you a limited time offer to help us in selling the stuff, but let's take this discussion at our booth outside, if anybody or our guest wants to discuss this with us. So I think this ends my my presentation. Thank you to everyone. Yeah.
No questions?